Hey guys, today I want to share with you my project for the day. It's going to be dealing with plaster, old plaster lath. I was going to share with you guys my advice on a few different things. This is my first time messing with plaster lath that has the gaps in between and their individual boards. They're almost like keys. These are what's called keys, and they lock in. Well, over time your house settles and these keys break and get brittle and they fall, and you'll hear sometimes you punch on the wall, you'll hear the it's almost like a concrete mix. That's what's falling down your wall. Plaster repair washers, or I think these were actually Purdy board. They're like for tile backer. I was gonna try to suck in. There's just a few loose spots on this wall here. I know it looks terrible. They did a bad finish job, but there's just a few. It's really solid, but there's just a few spongy spots. This was one of them. I had to just rip this out and go around it. But what's bad about these guys is they don't always suck in. You can see right here, this one sucked in. It's because I hit a stud and the other ones didn't. So you do want these to suck in. Now, if you had a plaster lath like board, that's what I'm referring to. Is it's actually like a board and there's no gaps in between it. It was at my old place and you could literally screw it anywhere and bite. Now here you can literally screw anywhere other than in between the gaps and bite. Find out is these screws, drywall screws, find out is once you get to a certain point, they just pretty much just burn out, and they will hold, but they won't cinch down like this. Well, I don't know if you can see it because I'm moving, but try to. This whole thing is still spongy. So these are pretty much useless in my opinion when dealing with plaster repair, because you can see here, well, I don't know if you can see it because I'm moving, but try to. This whole thing is still spongy. So I was gonna try to do that in this room. I've already put up drywall on other rooms of this attic. I'm in an attic right now and it's a 2-bed way of doing it. And what I did was there's actually plaster behind this wall or ceiling and this ceiling. And what I did was just covered it up. You wanna use 1/4-inch drywall because you don't want anything too heavy. Because if you're putting up 1/2-inch drywall, then that's gonna be really heavy. And you're already, if you want to think about it, just think light. You don't want that ceiling falling down. And this ceiling is sound. I can push everywhere on this ceiling and wall, and there's no spongy spots. So over here, why I decided to take this out was because the trim, if I added drywall, the trim, in some places in this house, the plaster was already out past the trim. So I already have a 1/2-inch piece of drywall I'm gonna stick on this wall and do my cutout. And you can see where somebody already did a drywall repair right here. And I'm leaving that because I can make that look good and blend it in with my new drywall. You can do this, but what you'll find is plaster is not always even. Like over here it is. So I can get away with a 1/2-inch sheet of drywall right here because they used a 1/2-inch here and I have about a 1/2 inch all the way up. So that's one thing you want to check. So a 1/2 inch will work here. And then I also tore this wall out because it was just in really bad shape and I didn't want to go over it again because it would be sticking out past the trim. And I had this window here that I knew I was going to be able to save this plaster all the way around. So now I don't have to pull my trim off or anything like that because this plaster, except I got into it a little bit here, but that's okay. But this plaster was all sound around this window. So I'm leaving that, and that's gonna save me some time. So this is what I was gonna show you where it's not always even. You can see up here that it goes almost even 3/4 right there. Then it goes back down to 1/2 inch. Then it comes down, guys, to a 1/4 inch. So that's what I'm going to be dealing with here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of 1/2 inch. You can see where this kind of dives down. So I'm going to have to put a bigger piece here. So I'm going to do 1/2 inch here. I'm going to do 1/4 inch probably to like right here. And then I might even do 1/4 inch all the way up, be what I end up doing. Also, you can buy 3/8 inch drywall, and that might actually be better, but then with the same size all the way, or at least where this big bump is, do 1/2 inch, and then just go, I'll probably just do 1/4 inch from there up, just because it'll be easier to finish. And this is gonna be able to, I'm gonna be able to tape this, guys. This is drywall, but I'm gonna be able to screw this. I just haven't done it yet. I can screw this off because there's actually paper on the drywall, and make this more secure and tape it. So you can tape drywall to plaster. That's what I'm gonna do here around the window. So I'm gonna go pick up my supplies. I'm gonna go get more drywall. And once I get it hung, I might even show you guys how I apply the glue and how I cut it and all that. But just wanted to share these tips with you. If your ceiling's falling down, 9 times out of 10, the whole ceiling's like that, unless it was a leak. So if it was a leak, then you're probably okay just to do a little patchwork, something like this, and get away without using these. These will probably be useless, but as long as everything else is sound around it, then you can, you know, cut a patch like you would any other piece of drywall and screw to the lap, and then tape around your patch. So 1/4 inch is going here. The reason why I'm not taking this off is because I still have some of the trim is fat enough to where it's going to sit flush on there, and there's plenty here that I don't have to worry about that. So I'm gonna do 1/4 inch here, liquid nails, 1/4 inch here. I'm gonna put the ceiling on first, and then yeah, everything else is gonna go in too. But yeah, I'm gonna go get this. Hey guys, I want to hop back on here so I can get this posted, but this is just a example. I will say, if you're gonna use it, have patience because it blows through. And the reason why I have all these holes and it looks so unprofessional is because, well, like I showed you earlier, the screw burns out in these lath boards. They're not thick enough. Now, if you have the thick one-piece boards that are like tongue and groove, those are excellent. They're thicker and they have much better bite, and you won't burn through the paper like I did in a few places. I'm gonna go through here and make sure all this is sound, but avoid blowing through. It's gonna burn out a little bit. Here's one I blew all the way through. You know, the liquid nails is really gonna help in this drywall being extra light because it's only a 1/4 inch. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. I'm a one-man crew and I don't have a drywall hoist, and I don't know how well one would work anyways. It'd probably be my way at this angle, but I will show you this trick that I do with drywall. Is I write down my measurement, how it's going to go up against the wall. This is the end result. I was trying to fudge in for that gap, but you can tell it's pretty close. So what you'll want to do is you want to make sure you have a good sharp blade, run it down the side until you can pop that in there. The reason why I cut it here, like I was saying earlier, is my lath goes in quite a bit. So I'm using 1/2 inch here and a 1/4 inch here. Now people will say you're not supposed to use 1/4 inch on walls. Well, you know, this isn't new construction and I'm only using it, I'm actually using it over existing wall, and right here is the only place I'm not going to use it. But as you can see, this is like a 1/4 inch right here, and then what I'm gonna have to do is shim it out up here. That's what I've decided. You know, I said I might float it, but really you can stick some shims along here and just float it out. I'll, you know, cut a big piece. It's drywall's always 4 foot wide, so it'll probably be somewhere right in here, and then I'll cut that angle in and have a piece there, and then a little sliver right here, and then tape it all up. I'm not going to show you how I tape. You'll probably find plenty of videos on here about taping, but these are just some of some tips for you when it comes to plaster versus drywall and what to do in a situation. If you have something like this, you can patch it as long as this isn't flimsy around. This is still kind of flimsy, so I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna wall over this, and I'm gonna wall over that, and I'm gonna add that piece there, I'm gonna add a 1/2 inch piece there because someone already started a 1/2 inch piece there and a 1/2 inch piece here. Ideally 1/2 inch is best for walls, and I don't know, I think it varies. States require 5/8 is like the new minimum, but I've always used 1/2 inch just because it's easier for me to hang, and I feel like 1/2 inch is a good thickness. But for fire codes, some might require. I'm gonna hop off here. Yeah, that's just my thoughts on how to do drywall and plaster. I personally don't like plaster. Some people prefer it, but I think it's just a pain in the butt when it comes to finishing. And it almost is so much easier just to drywall over and finish. You know, I'll put a texture on this wall and that'll save me some time, but it's just easier to finish drywall in my opinion and making repairs. Thanks for watching. I wanted to throw this on here. This is another reason why I prefer 1/2 inch when it's not on the ceiling and over plaster, because this is so much easier to sink in than, like, even when you're hitting studs on this 1/4 inch, it likes to burn through for some reason, just because, oh, I don't know, for some reason it does though, because I know I've been hitting studs on here and it just doesn't, I don't know, something about it just being the thickness of it. But as you see, I've got this 1/2 inch here and it lines up pretty good right there, guys. So this is all gonna get filled and taped, and I'm gonna finish screwing this up. But yeah, again, one other thing I wanted to show you, just a test to see when you're not on a stud, because there's a stud right there and a stud right here. I just want to see if this is gonna, okay, that didn't hit. So I'm gonna drop down, see if I can hit something here. Okay, that hit too. So see it burn out a little bit, but see it didn't burn the paper out. For some reason with that 1/4 inch, when you're screwing into this lath, that paper just wants to burn out. This right here is perfect. You can feel that, and that's what you want to see. You don't want to see this. And I hate that I put this on here and I'm actually showing you guys this, but this is just some words of wisdom from me on this. And try to avoid 1/4 inch at all costs. I had to use it just because I couldn't hang 1/2 inch by myself, and I don't have a drywall hanger. But I'm gonna go through, and that's another reason why I use liquid nails. And it's cinched up there really good, and again, there's no loose spots. But I'm gonna go through even on this one. I don't care how many screws I gotta put in, but I'm gonna make sure I get some more good screws in there where it doesn't blow through the paper. But that's another tip on 1/2 inch. It's just so much better to screw in. And also, I don't have it on me, but they make an adapter that goes on to like an impactor drill, and it keeps, it's an automatic release, so it pops the screw head off when you hit just past the paper, so it makes life a lot easier. I left that at home. I haven't been using it. Just gotten to the where I know when it's about to pop through. On this, I don't even think it would have worked, honestly. But there is that out there to help you.